Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for the next session of Fabric Data Days. My name is Anna. I'll be your producer for this session. I'm an event planner for Reactor, joining you from Redmond, Washington. Before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our moderators to answer. Our session is being recorded. It will be available to view on demand right here on the Reactor channel. With that, I'd love to turn it over to our speakers for today. Thanks so much for joining.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So you want to be a data analyst. So that is why we are all here. How are you, my friend Gaston? How are you doing?
Hey, Javier. Happy day for everyone. Maybe morning, maybe afternoon, maybe night for everyone that's joined us today. But glad to be here again in a community again and Fabric Data Days.
Good. Very good. So why don't we start talking about this fabulous topic? So we would like to be data analysts. So that is why we are all here. So Gaston, you want to introduce yourself?
Sounds great, Javi. So Gaston Cruz here. I am a Microsoft Data Platform MVP for the last 9-10 years or so. I'm also an AI MVP. I'm currently Senior Director for Slalom here in the USA. I live in Bellevue, next to Seattle, for the last 7 years or so, but I am from Uruguay, South America as well. Love community engagements, love to engage with this kind of, Fabric Data Days. This is going to be amazing in terms of sharing knowledge, sharing our own experience, and how we become data analysts quite some while ago. I also have a YouTube channel, PowerMate, so feel free to join me on that journey with Alex Rostan, a business apps MVP. We shared our knowledge in terms of how to connect the dots between business apps and the data space. So switching back to you, Javier.
All right. And my name is Javier Villegas. I am from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I am also a data platform MVP and a Microsoft certified trainer. And also I work at Mediterranean Shipping Company. I'm one of the organizers of our local community, SQL Argentina. We have our YouTube channel, No Hay Data, and where we share a lot of news and we have fun with a group of data friends. So why don't we continue and we introduce our teammates here, Gaston, because we are not alone. In the YouTube channel, we have our moderators, Heidi, Stephanie, and Kevin. So they will be with all of us today, answering all your questions. So if you have any question about the topic that we are delivering today, don't hesitate to ask in the YouTube chat, and they will be glad to answer all your questions. So this is a series that we call Fabric Data Days. It already started a few days back, right? So, the idea today is go to the data analyst area, and we're going to be delivering a bunch of useful URLs for you to start working with, right? aka.ms is the common one for all of them. So Fabric Data Days. So after this session, go there, start your journey, explore the Fabric Data Days. We're going to go through all the series of events that we have in the next slide, right? We're going to cover and we'll show you what's coming next. So, as I said, this is a series that already started. Here is the full schedule with the timing and the time zone and the days, right? So we already started with a couple of them. So now we are in the number 4th. So want to be a data analyst, right? Tomorrow, I'm going to be also delivering the last one with my friend Martin. So if we want to be a data engineering. So here is the full schedule, right? Fabric Data Day /schedule, Fabric Data Days /live. All the information regarding to this series is going to be there. So again, go visit it and start your journey in that point. All right, so Gaston, we have a bunch of context, as you know, as well as challenges, right? So we have the Fabric database context, so which is basically the one in where attendees are basically telling a story based on data, right? This is the content in where everybody can upload their Power BI presentation based on a data set and enter into a context and to win some very good prizes, right? Then we have one specifically for student, a Power BI database context for student, right? This is basically target for student, right? And we also have another one super interesting, right? I believe this is the very first time that is being challenged, which is the Fabric Database notebooks context, right? In where we're gonna be able to play around a little bit with Spark, with notebooks, with Python. So really, really interesting content. So take a look. You have the URL down there, Fabric Database /context. So again, after this session, go there and start exploring all this content, right? For all of them, we have time until November 25th, right? So definitely is a good point to start and measure yourself against other, right? And have fun, of course. And definitely, we're gonna have vouchers with discount for certification, right? We know that the certification for Fabric are the DP 600 and the DP 700, right? So there's gonna be 100% discount for those two certifications, right? You have the URL there, FDD as Fabric Database /cert 100. At the same time, there are also 50% discount for the PL 300 and the DP 900, right? So FDD /cert 50. But listen, don't go to sleep and then come here tomorrow because, we're going to be running out of vouchers. So definitely, if you would like to take the chance to get this certification, we definitely encourage you to go there and get your voucher as soon as possible, right? So aka.ms /fabric database /search, and from there you can start digging into your voucher for the discounts. Hurry up until December 31st, so it's all this year. So here you also have, if you want, the QR code. If you don't remember the URL, you have it there. So if you have your phone with you, just scan the QR code and you're gonna get the 50% discount right from here. Same for the P600 and 700, right? This certification, super important. Microsoft is giving up for free, right? So definitely go there and check for it. There are also several free instructor-led hands-on workshops, right? As you remember, Gaston, the Power BI day back in the days, right? Now we have the Fabric Analyst in a day and also the real-time intelligence in a day. These are one-day workshops that are targeted to Power BI developers, to data analysts, to Fabric users that would like to learn more, right? So again, these are free instructor-led hands-on workshops. So aka.ms next FAIAD and next RTIAD. So go there. If you prefer to learn with an structure, this is the place for you to start looking for this entry point. All right, Gaston. So this is why we are here. I want to be a data analyst. So what do we need to know to be able to do that?
That's great, Javi. So, a couple of things that I recall from all the interactions in the chat right now. First of all, common questions for everyone. Remember that we are recording the session, so you can come back anytime to check any of the details that you might be kind of missing, or you want to get recapped in any of the topics that we've been discussing today. So, for this course that we are going to be delivering today, that overall session, that session comes for kind of one of the foundational skills in the data analytics world. We are going to be trying to cover different career path, because we know that two journeys, they don't look alike, so we are going to be highlighting with Javier kind of the skills that really matters to become a data analyst. So we are going to be trying to give you practical experience, some guidance, how you can build and start your very first project as a new data analyst, how you can join some community contests, how you can get hands-on experience, and how to connect with some of the mentors, because at the end of the day is always about community, so you need to catch up and go into the Fabric community, engage with the community, check on what are your local user groups, tend to find a way to meet them in person. There's a lot of different user groups today that you will have to connect. So that's pretty much how you can start that process of becoming a data analyst. What we are going to be covering today, first of all, we are going to be covering what is to become a data analyst, what is the role, how you can get into that information role, what type of skills that matter to play this role as a data analyst, how you can collaborate between the whole data platform spectrum, meaning if you are a data analyst, what is your connection with a data engineer, how you connect with analytics engineers and business teams at the same time. I saw a bunch of, people in the chat commenting like, hey, I'm playing like Javier, multiple roles, multiple hats. Maybe I am connecting with data architects, I'm connecting with the data engineers, I'm connecting with business analysts and data analysts as well. How I can be sure that I'm playing the right role on my organization, how I can become that data analyst, what I need to learn to become a data analyst. So we are going to be connecting to those skills. We are going to be explaining how you can connect the dots between Power BI and Fabric, what makes sense and what you need to understand in that bridge between Fabric and Power BI, how you can bring everything together as a data analyst, connecting all your data, working on cleansing the data via data flows, how you're connecting with the modeling transformation layer, how you can experience the data visualization layer with Power BI, and how you can explain to others what is Fabric and why Power BI is part of that unified data platform space. And then how to get started, how you can start that career path, what are the options to start the career path, and how you can, uh, how you can get started in terms of building your skills, practice with real data, how you can start creating your own portfolio to showcase your own work, and finally, what is the career pathway, how you can go and check for resources from the community, from the product teams members, how you can check on the roadmap on what's coming to the Power BI world. That's pretty much what we are going to be trying to cover today. This is, again, live interactive session. Remember, we have amazing moderators behind the scenes, so feel free to chime in, ask your question, interact with them, post your own experience. We would love to learn from you. We learn from experience from others, how you switch careers, how you start in this field, how you position yourself as a data analyst, or how you embrace or thinking about your future as a data analyst. So we would love to learn from all of you. So what is a data analyst? some of the translation around data analysts, it is kind of a mix between data and decision making. And so the data analyst is taking the next steps in terms of understanding complex information, make sense of that information, how they can shape that storytelling, and how they can help organizations to understand what is happening behind the scenes. So if you have some ideas and you think about, hey, what does a data analytics mean to all of us? So feel free to chime in and explain in your own way, what do you feel that is a data analyst? We would love to hear from you. So uh, the
Yeah, we,
main
we
thing around
definitely
this, yep.
love to hear from you, from all of you. All right. So be interactive and put your comments in the chat.
Yeah, always around the data analyst role, what is coming to my mind all the time is, what story we would love to tell with the data, how we can use this kind of data, this kind of information to make better choices for our business. That is one of the pretty much centric underlying statement as a data analyst. And uh, I know that, at the beginning that can sound a little bit abstract, but we are going to be trying to break it down and explain what a data analyst is doing day by day, and what kind of tools they are leveraging and how they work, to bring that, work that drives impact for your business or your organization. So this is pretty much the journey. And I don't know if you remember that, Javier, but we are kind of old school. So if we think about the past, uh, what kind of systems comes to your mind when you think about data analyst in the past?
Well, I definitely remember system that came before Excel, right? But I won't share the name here. But definitely, if we want to analyze data, right, we can talk about hours and hours here with this audience about Excel, right? So, love Excel to start with. At the same time, to do reporting, I remember, also the ones before SQL Server reporting services, right? But let's say that getting data, building our report, analyzing data with Excel is how we all started here, right? So then we evolve, we enter into this world that Microsoft called the self-service BI, right? That was a breakthrough. That was definitely huge for all of us because we were able to do, as Gaston said before, a start telling a story based on the data, right? So this, being able to get this dashboard, this rich dashboard with real-time information, definitely is what make it really, really nice. And now, and also, I mean, I believe that right now we are part of the future, right? Of course, the Fabric platform is evolving as we speak, right? But being able to take a strategic decision based on data, right, is definitely what is driving this, this area, right? So I love what we have today. I love the future on what we have ahead, right? So definitely being able to take decisions based on the data project that we're going to be delivering, and being able to have more and more data analysts at the top of it is definitely what is coming ahead.
Exactly, Javier. And kind of the way I'm thinking about how this data analyst role fits in the overall data platform, ecosystems, and this is a team player game, meaning that
Mhm.
you're gonna be
It's not a
interacting all
one
the
guy
time.
person, a one guy
Exactly.
shop, right? Definitely,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So you're going to be interacting with data architects, with data engineers, because all of them, they're going to be start planning in terms of gathering data, connecting to multiple systems, build data pipelines, build models. The analyst is going to be stepping in, understanding the data, how to bring the right insights that people can use. And the data analyst role is pretty much the translator between, the technical aspect side of things in terms of gathering, collecting the right data, and the business side of things that understand how the data is structured, how they can understand that data to, accomplish some of the business goals and answer some of the questions from business users. So the data analyst pretty much explore all the patterns, trying to validate all the metrics, understand the business logic, build reports in top of that, build the dashboard in top of that, and then uh, make better decisions with that data. In the case of Microsoft Fabric, that means that sometimes you're working with pretty much different artifacts like semantic models, creating Power BI reports, collaborate with others in terms of business teams, define the right KPIs, define the right graphics, to tell your stories, define the roles, in your company. But that is pretty much the connection between data analyst and all the data platform roles playing part of this end-to-end solution path. So what really the data analyst role do daily basis? First of all, they explore to find the right data. They connect between multiple systems. Some of the systems could be on premises, some of the systems could be in cloud. They are start thinking about how to connect the data between multiple systems, how they can adjust the numbers to make sense and drive that action. But at the same time, data analysts, they need to ensure that they are accomplish the right data quality, the consistency of the data, that they are well prepared to clean the data and transform the data in the way that they can put together that kind of semantic models with all the relationships, the primary keys, and so on to build reports in top of that data. So they need to be sure that they are chasing the right information, getting the right relationship, modeling the data behind the scenes to build reports in top of that data and start creating those interactive reports and Power BI dashboards so a business user can navigate and make easy decisions and explore the data with confidence. And then the last milestone is how they can collaborate between different teams. Today, they need to collaborate with data engineers, with business stakeholders, making sure that the data is accurate, that the context is pretty clear, that the business users can filter the data in the right way, and pretty much that everyone in this kind of team organization game, that they are speaking the right the same language. That is the
And
key
this
element
is
for the
key, right? This is definitely key, being able to collaborate across the multiple teams. As we saw in the previous slide, it's not the data analyst only, right? We have to rely on the data sources. We have to rely, of course, on the ingestion of the data. So being able to collaborate across multiple teams is, I would say, one of the most important task that the data analysts need to do, right? And of course, the last point, Gaston, is communication, right? So being able to communicate this insight that we are getting from the data effectively and in the right way will definitely help the decision makers, the final users, to get the real story that is behind the number that and the chart that they see in the screen, right?
Yeah. And I really love that analogy of the iceberg in terms of how
Uh-huh.
much time you need to work on your semantic model, in terms of understanding your data, gathering your data, building the right relationships, clean the data, preparing the data. And the last milestone is the top of the iceberg, is that what you can see the report or the dashboard, but behind the scenes, that report or that dashboard, that you are looking and you're making decision in top of that, mainly have a lot of work that you cannot see. That is the work behind the scenes that you've been doing to explore the data, to analyze the data, to clean the data, to prepare the data, to become that kind of artistic report that you are sharing with your business users. Let's chime in on this one, that is, hey, what type of skills do I need and why I need those skills, to chime in and say exactly from a Microsoft certification perspective, but also to align with our goals as, becoming that data analyst in the roadmap. So first of all, when we are talking about the data analyst role, let's highlight the PL300 certification. That is the certification to become the data analyst, to have that analytics mindset. And that's why Microsoft is, working with many of the partners and customers and experts in different data communities to develop these kind of certifications. And, couple of things that many communities users and friends, they ask me, hey, Gaston, do I really need that certification? Even if it's not top of mind for you, I really encourage all of you to prepare that PL300 exam.
It's super
Because,
interesting,
yeah,
man.
first of
It's
all,
really good.
first of all, Javier's certification, kind of that resonate with every single employer right now. If someone is gonna be asking you, hey, are you certified, that resonate with any kind of employer today. But beside the certification itself is that you understand the concepts behind the certification, all
The
the
journey through
yeah,
the certification. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that means that you understand the overall ecosystem of, hey, Power BI is landing today in part of a whole data platform ecosystem. And that's where you can see the DP 600 that goes into the Fabric analytics skills, and the DP 700 that is talking more about the data engineer streams in the Fabric space. Going further on this line, we can see some of the data and the skills that you need to get to prepare for those exams. Yeah, give an example, almost 25-30% in the Power BI PL300 is all about the preparation of the data, how you gather and connect Power BI with multiple systems. Some of them could be on-premises systems, some of them could be cloud systems, how you combine all together, what is the right tool to transform the data, and that is Power Query. Of course, Power Query is that language that allow you to clean, to transform, to combine the data from multiple sources. The second big bucket in these exams, another 25-30%, is about, hey, I got my data clean already. So how I can structure the data, how I can start defining the right relationships between the data, how I can create calculate columns, how I can create business logic with DAX on measures and building more reusable data set or semantic models. So that is the second big bucket on this one. And the last milestone for the PL300 is another 25-30% of the exam is about, hey, I am a storyteller. I am good uh, telling the story, telling the right story in terms of what are those trends, patterns, insights that I would love to highlight out of my data. So that is really important to interact with the business users, to let them know, hey, this is the right visual for you to make better decisions. This is some custom calculations. This is filters that I put in place. And this can become really actionable insights out of your data. So, and finally, it's the pretty common topic, how you're going to be managing your data in terms of sharing the reports with
Super
your team,
important.
how you secure the data. So, uh, tell us a little bit more about your experience in that kind of field, Javier, in terms of sharing the experience on sharing reports, secure the reports, and so on.
Yeah, I'm more like a back-end person. So definitely, to me, this is key, right? I'm also part of those roles that we showed before in the slide. But definitely, the PL 300 is a really good starting point, right? And definitely, if you are taking this journey of being a data analyst, right? You should be able to do this quite easily, right? You do this all the time. You prepare your data, you do the modeling, visualization part that to me is by far the most complex part, right? But this is just to me because I'm not the visual person who does it, right? But and also, as we said before, manage and secure the data. Super important for that. And something that we all love, Gaston, is being able to work well with Power Query and DAX, right? So you should have some knowledge of those two languages as well.
Yeah, exactly. So in this slide, how I can become that analyst? What are those skills that I need to build? So this role is, kind of, I feel that this is the role that is perfect by doing, that hands-on experience, build the confidence on, experiment yourself, be sure that you can fail fast and connect with others with that they are also learning the same as you, so it is not the certification exactly as the definition of your destination, is how you can build those skills practicing and building that path. So that is kind of a little bit of my mindset of why you should be looking at the certification as the destination, but enjoy the journey to build those skills, practicing all the time, be hands-on experience directly on Power BI. So what?
Microsoft is giving us all the tools, all this in our hands, right?
Yeah,
The free
exactly.
training, virtual, the instructor-led data analysis in a day workshop, right? The free certification. So definitely, we have everything for us in order to take this path. Mhm.
And this is a really common question today, Javier. That the one of the question is, hey, what are those data analyst tools look like today? And in the old school, you mentioned few of them. I've been on that kind of spreadsheet world for a long time, teaching people around Excel and how they can rely on Excel or spreadsheet and multiple databases. Some of them could be reports in Power BI, but they are combining multiple sources like Snowflake, Looker, BigQuery, and so on. So the goal here is always the same: bringing your data into insights. And why Fabric is a perfect spot for that, because is one single unified platform to do an end-to-end solution. So you can ingest data, transform data, modeling data, reporting top of data. So you are avoiding what we call the data silos. So you can bring an end-to-end solution, leveraging data factory for ingestion, then building your lakehouse for structure and structured data, combine that with a goal layer in data warehouse for preparing the data, then building top of that the transformation and the semantic models in top of that data, and finally create your reports with Power BI. That's why the combination and your skills in Power BI makes a lot of sense to get the next jump into the Fabric, and that's open another world of tools with Delta Parquet, Spark, T-SQL, Python. That gonna be makes a lot of sense for you. So the PL300 and the data analyst in Power BI journey is just the beginning of your journey into the data platform landscape.
Do you remember how hard it was before Fabric, Gaston?
Oh yeah, that was a hard, things in terms of combining multiple services to bring to life an end-to-end data platform solution. So
Mhm.
you can see here that within Fabric you have all the different workloads But again, I repeat that is a unified platform. So when you set up your Fabric tenant in your organization, you're going to be looking at all these shortness, all these different workloads. And as you can see, Power BI is one of the members of the Fabric family. So for most people, Power BI is one of the visualization or visible layers out of this. But
This is
behind the
why
scenes,
it's at
yeah,
the end of all the personas, all the thing, right? Is the one that will bring alive all the things that we also gonna do as a data engineering and as a data warehouse, as a data scientist, and also real-time intelligence, and many others that also Microsoft Fabric has,
yep,
right?
yep.
So it's good to have it at the end because it's visually you can see like, well, Power BI is the one that brings all the others uh, alive or make them talk, let's say.
And regarding the skills that we were discussing before, as a data analyst, let's say that you finally become a data analyst after all this journey. You understand how to connect to the different systems, how to bring data to life, how you leverage in Power Query for all the transformation, and then bring in DAX for the business logic, and finally create a stunning visuals in Power BI. One of the really common questions from the community to me, Javier, is, hey, what is next? What I should be doing if I earned that PL 300 data analyst exam for Power BI, how I can easily jump into the Fabric space. And my advice, at least from my end, but I would love to hear from you, Javier. My advice is, hey, if you've been doing data flows in Power BI, why not? You can do data flows in the data factory workload in Fabric. That is a simple step process. So instead of transforming the data inside Power BI, let's transform the data leveraging data flows in Data Factory. And that is the very first step to start understanding all the different workloads in Fabric. What do you think, Javier?
Yeah, the transition is not that hard, right? Of what it was the Azure data platform with the original data factory or Synapse, right? Definitely, if we are coming from there, we have all the knowledge. And of course, for Power BI, now that it has way many more features than the ones that we knew from before. Remember, recently we celebrated 10th birthday of Power BI, Gaston. You and me, we were there. Remember that. So definitely, it has evolved a lot. But as Gaston said, if you are doing this on a daily basis, just do the sham for the certification, get the hands-on experience, right? We have everything for you to start digging into, and well, that's gonna be the next step.
Exactly. So you can see here, the overall picture of, the fabric space, and one lake is one of the big components on that one because that is the back end of everything that happens in the fabric space regarding, the product experience, the security and governance, the compute and storage, and all the business model is happening in one single place. That's why it's kind of a unified platform itself. Uh, Going into this spectrum, I really love this slide that bring a lot of memories on my end from the old school dashboard in a day that I trained people a long time ago. But this explain exactly, the overall end-to-end solution in Power BI, starting from a collection of multiple services coming together, and that means applications, software, spreadsheet, collaboration systems coming all together. You are connecting with all of them because there's a lot of connectors out of the box in Power BI. So, pretty much one of the tips is, if you don't know anything at all about Power BI, Power BI Desktop is a free tool, 100% free tool that you can download that free application. You can install that in your computer. that desktop application allow you to connect to data, transform the data, and create visualization in top of your data. And that is totally free for anyone. The first step in that process is, hey, let's pick any data set that you like. And that data set could be a website with, I love some.
There are a
So
bunch of free data sets to start
yeah.
working with, right?
And
And
we all love soccer, both of us, Javier. So I always love to connect to any website with the soccer team, tournaments, and you can grab the data from there and you can start playing around. That is a kind of one of the tips that I have.
fun, getting
If
fun
you
with the data.
exactly have fun with your data. Have fun with your data. Connect with a data set. Could be a public data set, as Javier mentioned before. Connect to that data set, and create your own storytelling with that data set. Telling a story with data is the most highlight skill in the data analyst world. So pretty much this is one of the main uh, context around Power BI. And you can see here,
And let's remind the audience, Gaston, of what we just said at the beginning of our presentation, the context, right? The data visualization context, right? So if you feel comfortable building reports with Power BI desktop, this is your opportunity to enter into this tournament for just for fun, right? And do your very best visuals.
and remember again, one of the highlights that I have across the Power BI and the Fabric ecosystem is the power of community. So be sure again to go to the Fabric community website. Our moderators back there, Shannon, Stephanie, Kevin, they're going to be sharing this all over the place. But remember to join the Fabric community, because you can
Key.
start
That's
looking at
key.
the galleries. You can see examples of different reports that they bring together. There's a bunch of resources as well coming, as Heidi mentioned before. Resources from SQL BI, from Phil Seamart, Matt Allington, and bunch of more people from our communities that they share that kind of content, those kind of tools, those kind of resources with everyone. So be sure that you connect with them, connect with the community, ask your questions, because sometimes you have an issue, you want to troubleshoot that, and you're going to see that the community is really active across all the spaces and worldwide. How we gonna get started? How we gonna get started in terms of practical steps? What are the steps that we need to put in place to become a data analyst? As we mentioned before with Javier, pick a small project, a small data set. Could be a public data set. Build your end-to-end solution in Power BI, thinking about how you're gonna be connecting with your data, clean your data, modeling your data, how you are going to be generating those insights, how you're going to be creating the storytelling behind the scenes. Connect to see some of the tutorials from the Microsoft Learn, sample projects, community resources. That is the best way to learn. And again, this is really hands-on. So be sure that you download Power BI Desktop and you start right away jumping to start practicing right away. This is the one of the ways to start in that process. There's a lot of learning path in the Microsoft Learn journey. So Microsoft Learn is a really great place to start that journey, to start working and doing hands-on models that walk you through all the real tasks about the ingestion, about the transformation, the modeling, the visualization. So when you start working on this Microsoft Learn journey, don't worry too much, thinking about an end-to-end workflow, and start thinking about what happens with my data, how I can connect with multiple systems. So pick a few learning paths that match with your data analyst role. For example, if you're thinking about analytics or models, look in data preparation or just Power BI, do some of the exercise from the Microsoft Learn Journey, uh, check on all the process, and then one of the key elements here is trying to learn by doing. That is the best way. Uh,
Get your
any
hands
thoughts?
dirty, right?
Yeah, exactly,
So
exactly,
yeah,
Javier.
yeah. Now, one of my advice is not only for the ones who would like to be data analysts, but for everyone who would like to learn more is the Microsoft Learn platform, right? Definitely, that's the starting point. Is plenty of opportunity, plenty of things to start digging, hands-on labs, exams to test yourself, sandboxes to play around, data, I mean, sample data sets, everything that you need to start your data journey, right? So start with your Microsoft Learn. That is by far one of the key things that you have to take from this presentation, right? This is one of the best, to me, resources that Microsoft is giving to the community, to the professionals, right? So definitely we should all take advantage of.
Exactly, Javier. And as we mentioned before, first step on this process, go ahead, download Power BI Desktop. You can get really hands-on experience on this one. Even when you download Power BI Desktop, it's gonna be linking you to some of the Microsoft Learn content right away. You also have really great samples downloading Power BI Desktop, so you can check on those samples right away. And this is your perfect first step, because you open Power BI Desktop, you go to the Microsoft Learn experience, you sign up to that learning path, and you're going to be hands on doing an end-to-end experience in Power BI. And that means that you're going to be starting your journey connecting with your data, practicing what it's going to look like in Power BI Desktop to connect to a simple data set, move data, clean the data, then modeling that data, and create a simple report as a next steps. Don't worry too much in terms of trying to create that report perfect, because that is not the main goal here. Is to understand the process, is to understand the workflow. Uh, if you don't have access to Power BI yet, you can still get practical experience, with the Power BI in a day course, even if that is virtual or in person. So uh, try to expose yourself to that experience. And the key element here is experience over the perfection. That is
Yeah,
the one of the
absolutely.
tips on this one. And explore real data, explore a real environment, and trying to practice fast, because one of the key elements out of Power BI that if we remember old school games, Javier, remember that in the past, trying a new report was month of implementing that report.
Mhm.
With Power BI, you can do that in one day. You can try
Yeah.
different things. You can do mock-ups in few hours.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the beauty of this free tool, right? And there are resources everywhere for us to start with this adventure. So definitely, right after the session, we should all go download Power BI Desktop and start playing around. We saw in the YouTube chat one of the questions or the comments saying that Power BI Desktop is not available for Mac users, right? But the web version definitely is getting richer and richer and trying to be parity with the desktop or the downloaded version for Windows. So it's getting really close, right? So if you don't use a Windows platform, start with the web version, right? But if you start with Windows, definitely download the application.
And even for Mac users, remember another shortcut or workaround. Uh, you can have platforms like Parallels where you can install a Windows version to run Power BI Desktop in top of that. So you have the Power BI service itself that the modeling experience is coming better and better on that one, but you also have, the workaround of installing Parallels and run Power BI Desktop in top of that as well. So couple of things that I would love to recall here, as a very first on that process, we double down in terms of download Power BI Desktop, pick a project that you feel comfortable. Remember that one of the things is having fun with this small project. That small project should be able to link yourself with some data. So you're going to be connecting and collecting some data. You're going to be start the process of cleansing the data, transform the data, model that data, kind of building those relationships between tables, analyze the data, and then in top of that, create your report. That is a end-to-end project. So first of all, first tip, start with a small bucket. Choose a project that you can manage and be meaningful for you. You can track your own data, you can analyze, a public available data set, or you can recreate a report from scratch that you find interesting. The goal, again, remember, is not perfection, it's completing the full workflow to understand the end-to-end life cycle in Power BI.
You can add the complexity later on, right? But start
Exactly.
small.
Exactly. Another way to learn, I double down on this one, is community context. Go ahead and check the skills that you need to structure your project. You also get the benefits of seeing what others are doing in that context. With the same problems. Share feedback. With peers, and the key takeaway here is, again, hands-on practice. That is essential topic for all of us. And if you need any kind of inspiration, remember, again, going to the Fabric community contest, check the gallery, check the visual celebration for Power BI turning 3 years. There's a lot of great examples of reports, so you can check that out to as a way of inspiration on that one. And all our moderators, they've been pretty active in the chat today. They shared a bunch of different blogs, sample files, forums. Remember, again, connect with your community, connect with your user groups. You can download bunch of different resources from the community, tools that allow you to speed up the process of building your data analyst journey. Ask questions in your community, share your work, posting your project, posting your portfolio, asking, feedback for your community, helping others. If someone is having a question around one topic and you have the answer because you've been facing that kind of issue, go ahead and answer those questions. The community is there not only for collaborate, to ask questions, also to go back and answer some of the questions if you have ideas or you have answers to those questions. So key element again here is learning through the collaboration. So the community expose a lot of ideas, accelerate your skill building. So be there, showing the Fabric community, and start building your own experience in that field. And then again, one of the aspects around this, iterate. That is the main reflection here. You can iterate all the time. Start simple, get feedback, tackle down, go and more in the complex projects. So each of these iterations is going to be teaching you a lot of lessons about the workflow, about the tools, about how to communicate insights. Uh, Something that always work is capturing those lessons that you learn as part of the journey, so that kind of reflections help you to replicate, and avoid the same mistakes all over the place. Build that kind of confidence in your skills. So remember that the goal is about, the continuous learning journey by practices. So be sure that you're experimenting, that you're reflecting, that you're adjusting in top of that, and trying again. That prepares you for real world analytics engineer work. So one of the important things about this is you don't have to iterate everything on your own. Remember that you can share with the peers, sharing with colleagues, sharing with the community. There's a whole Reddit space back there in the platform. There's a huge Discord community back there, and work with people, iterate faster on that field. So let's go with career path, Javier.
Okay, let's see what's next. All right. So definitely the careers are not similar one to each other. They may have some things in common, right? But you can start with being an analyst, right? But then, you can also dig the other career paths, like the data engineer, the data science, or the business role. There are multiple ones. Again, all of them, there are different one to each other, right? But they are complement to each other, right? So definitely don't, encapsulate only in one of them, explore the others. That is why this series, Fabric Data Days, is targeting to the whole spectrum, right? The PL 300, the DP 600, and the DP 700, right? So, and when you play around, try different projects. Gaston said multiple times, right? So download the data. You can start playing with the health data, with sport-related data, etc. There are plenty of things for you to play and, play the different roles in your data ecosystem, right? Do the data analysis, but also don't forget about the other roles that are also super important. And the skills definitely are super important, right? The titles, getting the certification is of course nice. It's nice to have, but we should definitely focus on the activity itself, right? Not what we're gonna be trying to reach to the point where we get the certification, but the important point here is the core of what we are doing, right? Start by getting your hands dirty, as we said, download the data, ingest the data, transform your data, create your modeling, and finally do the visualization, right? Think about a problem to solve. You have a certain situation, you have this specific set of data, and start working, focusing on solving the problem. And of course, participate in as many activities as you can. Projects, context, training, contributions, everything will help you to grow in your career. So these are the actions that you should take right after this session, right? Look for mentorship here within the community. There are a bunch of other people that would like to share experience and, learn with you. If you are not part of a local user group, there are plenty of them, as Gaston said, Reddit, Discord, WhatsApp, in person, virtual, right? All around the world, actually. We are part of many with Gaston, and we love the community activity. Get engaged with your community, right? Participate, share your ideas, your problems, and try to solve others' problems. That will also help you to grow. And try to take the next step, right? Start by a small little project, right? And do it completely from end to end. And then build your next project and contribute with the community to get the challenge. So, Gaston, what is going to be next in this amazing Fabric Data Days series?
Yeah, as Javier shared before, remember that this is part of all the schedule of different great sessions. We just tackled down on become a data analyst, but remember that tomorrow we have two interesting sessions, one around the databases and Fabric fit together, and Javier as well is going to be participating in, hey, you want to be a data engineer? What's next in that journey? So remember to follow this schedule, to visit those links, and remember to be engaged, prepare, get certified. We got amazing 100% discount for DP 700, DP 600. We have 50% for PL 300 and DP 900. Remember that you can follow those links to connect to the certs and check up your user group, study group, and so on. So be sure that you get these vouchers. Remember that this is a recording session. You can bring this up again and check on those links.
You can claim your voucher until December 5th and take it until December 31st.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
And then last but not least, this one,
yeah,
Javier.
Again, this is important to reiterate. If you want to learn by an instructor-led experience and also be part of a hands-on workshop, right? The Fabric Analyst in a day and the real-time intelligence in a day, which is another personas within the Fabric solution, right? Are really nice. I've been part of both of them actually, and it's a very good experience if you are new into the data ecosystem, but also if you are experienced, right? It will also help you to learn more of the foundations and also share with others. Bunch of resources here. The starting point, aka.ms Fabric Data Days. We've been sharing through the session, the moderators, through the YouTube chat, all the links, right? All available for you. But the starting point is always Fabric Data Days. And from there, you're going to go to the workshop, to the certification, to the context, everywhere.
Exactly. And again, this is the last milestone for all of us. I really appreciate the time today from all the moderators that joined our live session and answer many, many questions from the community. Again, another pleasure from my end to share this session with my friend Javier. And thanks to be here, thanks to joining us today to start checking on that journey of how you can become data analyst and have fun on part of the journey.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Gaston. Thank you, community. See you around. Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you all for joining, and thanks again to our speakers. This session is a part of a series. To register for future shows and watch past episodes on demand, you can follow the link on the screen or in the chat. We're always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. If you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find that link on the screen or in the chat. And we'll see you at the next one.